This is a new Batman issue #1. Enjoy. Gotham City, Burnley and 3rd Avenue. Jim Gordon leans against the hood of his patrol car, smiling as his new partner hands him a hot coffee. No rain, he asks, glancing toward the stormy sky as thunder flashes in the distance. Beg pardon, Commissioner? Officer Espinosa replies, confused. Gordon chuckles and corrects her, reminding her it's just Officer Gordon now. He's not the commissioner anymore. Before she can respond, a flash of lightning rips across the sky, and something leaps through it. A massive, crocodile-like creature crashes into a nearby meat delivery truck, shattering metal and glass. Espinosa reaches for her gun, but Gordon stops her, hand up. Easy, officer. We call this one in. You work in Gotham long enough, you learn one thing. You always call for backup. Meanwhile, inside Arkham Tower, Batman stands before a fresh hole in the wall where Killer Croc's cell used to be. The wind howls through the breach, whipping his cape as he stares out over Gotham. Getting pretty tired of this, he mutters, turning back toward Dr. Zeller. She shakes her head, tablet in hand. We're as surprised as you, Batman. Waylon Jones came here voluntarily for treatment. He could have left any time. It doesn't make sense why he'd break out. Batman studies the empty cell. You're new here, Doctor. Killer Croc hasn't been Waylon Jones for a long time. Keeping the man and the monster separate helps, especially when they disappoint you. He bends down, picking up a small, stuffed dinosaur from the floor. Dr. Zeller shows him the tablet. He'd been mutating again, shedding his skin, becoming more reptilian. But oddly, his mind was regressing. He was becoming gentler, childlike. Batman glances at the hole in the wall. And now your childlike, man-eating monster just wants to go outside and play. She joins him at the opening. Maybe he's scared. Fear makes people do unpredictable things, she says softly. Have you called the police? Batman asks. I may be new, Batman, but I'm not stupid. I called you first, she replies. Good, Batman says, stepping toward the ledge. When the police show up, stall them. If they find Croc before I do, they'll shoot to kill. And with that, he leaps into the storm. His cape unfurls like wings, carrying him into the night as Gotham speeds past below. Across town, Police Commissioner Vandal Savage addresses his officers. Behind him stands a unit of black armored soldiers. Listen up, Savage barks. We're bringing in a new level of protection. Tactical Urban Combat Officers, TUCO units, private security, trained for high-intensity operations. If you encounter any augmented criminals, call TUCO. Immediately. The room murmurs uneasily. One officer raises his hand. Commissioner Savage, what about him? He asks quietly. Savage's glare hardens. His time will come. Batman can't outrun Gotham's justice forever. Meanwhile, Batman races through the city in the Batmobile, Alfred's holographic AI flickering beside him. Rather quiet tonight, sir, Alfred observes. Following a hunch, Batman growls, steering toward Robinson Park in the Gotham Museum. In the park, two women run terrified from a group of thugs. The gang chases them down, laughing cruelly. Hey, baby girl, smile for us, one sneers. But suddenly the darkness explodes in light. Headlights flood the scene, and the Batmobile smashes through the group, sending bodies flying. The car screeches to a halt as Batman steps out. Taking down the remaining thugs in seconds, he turns to the women, voice low. The police think Robinson Park isn't worth their time. I disagree. He helps them up gently. Sorry I didn't get here sooner. A blue butterfly lands on one woman's shoulder. Batman notices, reaching out as his gauntlet scanner hums. Morpho Menelaus, he whispers. You're a long way from home. He turns toward the museum. Wait, you're just leaving us here? One of the women calls out nervously. Batman doesn't turn back. EMTs will be here in 3 minutes. Car, protect them. The Batmobile locks down, scanning for threats as Batman enters the museum's parking lot. Inside, half-eaten chunks of raw meat litter the floor. Oh dear, what a mess, Alfred remarks through the hologram. Batman follows a trail of blood through shattered glass until he finds a security guard shielding a woman and her daughter. The guard tenses, hand on his gun, but Batman is already behind him. Shh, he whispers. The gun's scaring the child, and it'll only make Croc angrier. He gently removes the weapon. Get them out. Contact Dr. Zeller at Arkham. Don't call the police. Batman orders quietly before stepping through the jagged hole. His gauntlets spark to life as he walks into the dark exhibit hall. Croc turns from the shadows with a roar. Come on, Croc! Let's end this, Batman growls. But the monster goes still. His eyes soften. He almost looks calm. Batman slowly powers down his gauntlets. The butterflies have gathered all around Croc. "You bad? So go," Wayland rumbles softly. "Master Bruce," Alfred's voice echoes through the comms. "What if Dr. Zeller is right? What if something has changed inside him?" Batman hesitates. Alfred continues. "Even a creature lost in fear can become a child again. A child alone in a violent world he can't understand." Batman removes his cowl and sits beside Croc. They stare together at the museum's giant T-Rex display. "You know, Wayland," Bruce murmurs, "I used to have one of these in my house." Croc nods slowly. "Big house?" "Yeah," Bruce smiles faintly. "Yeah, it was." Croc frowns. "You head new now, me head bad." "Lost," he says, holding up a chunk of meat. "I ate the zoo." "I know you did, buddy," Bruce answers quietly. Croc gazes up at the dinosaur. "Head like me. Bad, scary, hungry." He taps his skull. "Maybe I'm bad." Soon Dr. Zeller arrives with the Arkham staff, Croc's stuffed dinosaur in her hand. "Hello, Wayland." "I came to take you home," she says gently. "Home bad," he mutters. "Am bad." She shakes her head. "You made a bad choice, Wayland. Now make a good one. Come home. Let me help you." Wayland pauses, then nods. "Okay." He turns to Batman. "Home now?" "She help?" Croc tilts his head. "Who help you?" "My head's fine, Wayland." "I don't need help," Batman says. "If you say so," Croc mutters, handing him the stuffed dinosaur before turning away. Later that night, back in the bunker beneath Pennyworth Manor, Batman sets the stuffed dinosaur on a shelf. A faint smile crosses his lips. "Some trophy," he whispers. The moment doesn't last. His communicator chirps. "Hey, boss, you there?" Robin's voice crackles through. "Always, Robin." "You're on the emergency frequency," Batman replies. "Yeah, is there anyone on the GCPD we're still friendly with?" Robin asks nervously. Batman's eyes narrow. "Why?" he growls. Across town, Robin slowly raises his hands. 2 police officers have their guns trained on him. The story opens with him surrounded, red and blue lights flashing, as police officers aim their guns directly at him. In the past, the sun shone down over Wayne Manor. Damian was washing the Batmobile, muttering about how such labor was beneath him. Bruce and Tim watched from the side, amused. Damian grumbled that this sort of task insulted them both, and Bruce responded calmly that when he truly wanted to insult Damian, he'd know it. Tim was buzzing with excitement, convinced today would be his first time behind the wheel of the Batmobile. But Bruce had something else in mind. He walked over to a tarp-covered shape, pulled it away, and revealed an old orange truck. Tim tried to hide his disappointment, forcing a smile as he said, "Oh, cool. Old trucks are cool." Bruce smiled, telling him that if he ever wanted to handle the Batmobile, he had to start small, because mastering a manual transmission came first. Now in the present, a delivery truck made its way through Gotham's dark streets. The driver was tired and frustrated when a broken-down car blocked his lane. He honked and shouted for someone to move it, unaware that danger was already approaching. A thug appeared beside his window, gun drawn. The driver was dragged out, and another criminal climbed into the back of the truck, rifling through boxes. Then, one sharp gunshot echoed through the street. The man in the back froze. His 2 partners stood over the driver's body, arguing in panic. The last thug grabbed a box and ran into an alley, gasping for breath. He didn't get far. A shadow dropped from the rooftops, slamming him into the ground. Robin rolled forward and stood tall, smirking through the darkness. "Heads up, or maybe face off." "We can workshop it," he joked. The box he'd been carrying split open, spilling a white powder onto the pavement. Robin knelt down, dipping a finger in. "What's this? Smack drift? Some new drug?" He tasted it, surprised. "It's sweet?" The thug groaned, clutching his head. "It's baby formula," he said weakly. "Baby's hungry. All the time." But before he could react further, headlights cut through the alley. "Freeze! Move and I shoot!" shouted a cop. Tim raised his hand slowly. "Hey, you got any friends left on the force?" he whispered. Before Bruce could respond, the wounded thug ran for it. A single gunshot rang out. The man collapsed instantly. Tim's eyes widened. "You shot him!" he yelled. The officer didn't even flinch. "Suspects fleeing the scene can be treated as hostile." "Get on the ground," Tim clenched his jaw, then dropped a smoke pellet and leapt for the fire escape. Bullets tore through the air as he climbed, but one caught him in the side. His body went limp, and he tumbled back toward the cold pavement below. In a flashback, the old truck jolted to a stop. "You'll get it," Bruce said calmly. Okay, it's been a long day. We're both getting frustrated. Tim nodded and tried again. Suddenly, Damien dropped from above and landed on the hood with a thud. You've been at this for hours, you incompetent fool. Let me drive. Bruce sighed. Foot off the clutch, Tim. Now the truck lurched again, throwing Damien off and straight into the dirt. Excellent, Master Bruce. Well done, Alfred called from nearby. Bruce chuckled. All right, Tim. One more time. And remember to breathe. Tim's eyes opened slowly. He was in the back of a police van, wrists cuffed and blood pooling beneath him. You shot me, he gasped. The officer in front smirked. That's what happens when you resist arrest. Tim blinked in disbelief. Around him sat several gang members, all unshackled and glaring. The cop laughed. Figured these fellas were friends of yours. I'm sure they'll keep you company. The truck roared forward through the streets, hitting every bump on purpose. The driver grinned. We're gonna show Commissioner Savage we don't need his goon squads to clean up Gotham. Tim steadied himself, still bleeding. All right, fellas, he muttered. Rough night for everyone. Let's keep it cool. One of the thugs cracked his knuckles. Nah, man. Don't think we will. The truck hit a pothole, sending everyone flying. Tim twisted midair, rolled off the floor, and used the motion to snap his cuffs. The thugs charged again, but he was faster, landing quick punches and kicks as the van shook violently. Up front, the cops glanced back, trying to see what was happening. They didn't notice the road ahead, or the bat spike strip waiting in the darkness. The van hit it hard. Tires blew out, sparks flying. The vehicle screeched to a halt, and out of the shadows came Batman. His cape flowed behind him as he walked toward the van. Rough night? He asked. Tim was sitting on top of a pile of unconscious thugs. Worse for them, he joked, holding his side. Batman reached in to help him out, but the cops weren't done. One raised a shotgun. Don't move, freaks, he shouted. Tim warned. Careful, Batman. That one shot a suspect in the back. And me too. The cop sneered. I'd do it again if I had to. Ain't scared. His partner hesitated, lowering his weapon. Vargas, come on, he said quietly. They're supposed to be on our side. Batman's tone turned cold. Murder puts us on opposite sides, officer. The air grew tense. Vargas aimed his shotgun. His partner drew his pistol on him. Eddie, don't do it, he pleaded. Then chaos. Both guns went off. Batman's cape flared open, absorbing most of the blast, while Tim moved like lightning, disassembling the pistol in seconds. When the dust settled, both officers were bleeding. Batman and Robin rushed to patch them up, but Vargas wasn't done. His hand trembled as he reached for his fallen gun. One more shot, this one hitting Batman in the back of the head. Bruce collapsed instantly, back at Wayne Manor. The truck's engine went silent as Bruce finally called it a night. Tim sat behind the wheel, head low. I just kept thinking, what if something happened and I couldn't drive the Batmobile in an emergency? Bruce placed a hand on his shoulder. If that day ever comes, there's nobody I'd rather have behind the wheel. You're my partner, Tim. I trust you. He stood up and started toward the manor. And don't call it the Batmo. Tim smiled faintly. Nobody calls it that yet. Back in the present, Batman's vision was blurry. Tim's voice echoed through the haze. Batman, you still with me? Bruce groaned, trying to lift his head. Tim helped him up, guiding him to the Batmobile. I can drive, Bruce insisted weakly. Not tonight, Tim said, pushing him into the passenger seat. He slid into the driver's side and stared at the endless dashboard. How many gears does this thing even have? 13, Batman muttered. 9 standard. 3 quantum gears for time-space crises, and 1 secret gear. Secret gear? What does that even mean, Tim asked. Batman smirked faintly. It means I have the coolest car in the world. Now drive. The Batmobile roared to life, and the two heroes disappeared into the night. Later, Commissioner Savage arrived at the scene of the shootout. He ignored the press, walking past the bodies in silence. Kneeling down, he picked something up from the ground, a blood-stained batarang. Hours later, he stood before a room full of officers. Tonight, one cop is dead, another's in critical condition, and I know who's responsible. He raised the batarang for everyone to see. The room went silent. As of now, Batman and Robin are officially enemies of the Gotham City Police Department. And with that decree, the line was drawn. Gotham's greatest protectors were now its most wanted. Hust Gray lifts his phone and starts recording his older neighbor. Hust Gray's civics project, take one. Okay, Miss Marjorie, how has Gotham shifted the most over your years? Hust questions. The older lady smiles, settling back into her sofa, reflecting on how the city evolves constantly. New structures rise, areas transform, but Gotham remains Gotham at its core. Outside, gunfire rings out in the night, cutting into their chat. Hus can't resist and dashes to the window, scrambling onto the fire escape to capture the scene. His gaze widens in astonishment as he spots Batman and Robin hopping into the Batmobile right below. "Holy crap," Hus mutters, swinging his camera over to the crime area where two officers lie in spreading blood. He stays hidden, filming as the police secure the spot, zooming in tight while holding his breath as Commissioner Savage draws a batarang from his coat. He dips it in the slain officer's blood, tucking it under the body before summoning an investigator. Later, Savage stands in the hospital chamber of the surviving cop. "We uncovered proof linking Batman to the site. Why wasn't this noted in your account?" Savage presses. The officer shrugs weakly. "I didn't spot him, sir," the man murmurs. Savage leans close, gripping the man's oxygen line. "You and your partner figured you'd nabbed Robin. Batman showed up to bail him out. Name him, officer. Place him there, or you'll never utter another word." Savage hisses. The monitors blare an alarm, and a nurse hurries in. Savage backs off as she tends to the man, assuming he's fighting to breathe alone. Savage nods. "Hold your tongue, Officer Davis, until you're sure you've got the correct words to share." Savage instructs before exiting the room. In another part of the hospital, Bruce Wayne enters Tim Drake's room to see him and Bernard in a heated discussion. "Bernard believes I perished in a skiing mishap and no one informed me," Tim tells Bruce. Bernard spins toward him. "Bruce, hello. Step out with me briefly." Tim requires rest, Bernard requests. Bruce agrees and spots Tim pulling a face. They move outside, and Bernard expresses gratitude for Bruce's visit while guiding him to the waiting area. "Thanks for showing up. You know, Bruce, I noticed something odd recently." Bernard begins, "Every time you and Tim head off on those buddy getaways, he returns all battered. Strange, right? Time with you always leaves him injured." Bernard highlights. Bruce starts to respond, but Bernard grabs the flowers from Bruce's grasp. "These are beautiful, thanks," Bernard comments before turning and departing. Bruce stands there, caught off guard. His attention drifts to the waiting room TV where Hugo Strange debates with a woman on a Gotham news broadcast. The woman has developed a medical tool called the Crown of Storms, designed to stabilize brain patterns and aid those society labels as unstable. Irregular brain function can lead to severe emotional instability. My invention restores some of that stability to my patients. Fear blocks us from controlling how our brains react to trauma's disorder, but it demands trust, compassion, and patience, Dr. Zeller explains. But Strange argues that the woman has accepted funds from Wayne Enterprises, tainting her research. Dr. Zeller shakes her head. "We got a grant from the Wayne Family Foundation that backed our initial program, but they hold no control or say in my efforts. Those funds built a prototype and started our first human tests," she clarifies. But Strange rises and pounds the table. "I don't require your test to confirm my humanity. If tyrants like you used your gadgets on Van Gogh, he never would have created Starry Night," he yells. But Dr. Zeller just gazes at him. "Or perhaps Van Gogh could have crafted 100 Starry Nights rather than suffering to death at just 37, she replies evenly. Meanwhile, Bruce has returned home and spars with Damian. Amid strikes and blocks, he inquires if Damian plans to attend Gotham U, having been accepted 4 years ahead. Damian dodges a strike, stating he's mastered combat, martial arts, medicine, and criminology. "What field could I possibly not have conquered?" he questions. Bruce keeps sparring with his son. "Literature, history, poetry," he proposes before pinning Damian against the wall. "Girls? College has girls, Damian. Smart ones," Bruce adds with a grin. "It's fine to fear the world beyond," he goes on. But Damian knees his father low, dropping him before removing his helmet. "I dread no one, for my cause is just." "You instilled that in me," Damian declares with irritation as he exits the training space. Bruce sits on the mat as Alfred appears beside him. "Did I ever do that to you, Alfred?" Bruce asks. "Physically, sir?" "No, emotionally, many, many times," Alfred replies. In another part of the city, Officer Jim Gordon phones his old pal Harvey Bullock at Bullock Investigations in Alleytown. Well, if it isn't the world's most seasoned patrolman. "How's the leg cramps, newbie?" Bullock teases. Gordon frowns at the phone. "Hilarious." I need you to light the signal. Something's off with Savage, Gordon says. Harvey rubs his head and yawns. Something odd with Savage. Sharp sleuthing there, Jim, Harvey remarks, but he grabs the plush bat in his office and sticks its suction cups to the glass. Consider the bat signal lit, Bullock informs Gordon. As night blankets the city, Batman touches down on a shadowed rooftop, finding Bullock and Gordon there. How much public cash did we waste on that rooftop beacon all these years when a cheap stuffed toy stuck in a window grabs your notice? Bullock observes. Batman shrugs. Jim's concept, not mine. He rumbles. Gordon faces them. It was a sign for them, not him. So all knew, he begins, but Bullock raises his hands to halt Jim. Yeah, I recall, he says. Batman moves to the building's edge as Jim and Harvey detail how Savage is leveraging last night's officer shooting to alter GCPD rules. He aims to tip the media that evidence pins you as a cop slayer. He's commanded shoot on sight and authorized a private merc team for the task. Jim reveals. Batman nods quietly. Everything old is new again. Batman states, observing a police car racing down the street, seemingly oblivious to a woman crossing with her dog. Hey, Jimmy, how's tall, dark, and creepy gonna pull his vanishing trick from a small spot like this? Harvey asks with a smirk. Batman gestures toward the speeding vehicle and the woman. They're about to strike that woman, he murmurs. Harvey and Jim hurry to the ledge, watching in shock as the car nears. Those lunatics, Harvey bellows, but it veers at the last second. Gordon and Bullock turn to discover Batman vanished, having slipped off during their distraction. Funny, very funny, Harvey grumbles. In another spot in the city, at the Wayne Enterprises Experimental Sciences facility, two guards slump, blood seeping from slashes on their faces. Edward Nygma passes them, his question-mark staff dripping blood as he heads for the lifts. When are lace-ups as handy as trainers? When is a sprint contest a total bore? Nygma mutters as he navigates the building and its defenses. Finally reaching the chamber with the Crown of Storms prototype, he raises a controller and shuts down the alarms, wrapping up his puzzles as he grins and grabs for the gadget. When does the rooster skip the dawn? And, what did Napoleon try for his dental pain? But abruptly, a fist emerges from the gloom and cracks his jaw, shattering his lenses and flooring him. Oh, Edward! Batman sighs as he disables the cloaking on his stealth gear and materializes before Nygma. When they're knotted, when it drops without a vehicle, when the clock's broken, and when he sees the crown, Batman responds, solving all of Edward's puzzles. He bends down. You were holding it together pretty well for a bit, Edward, head of Nygma Tech. Wealthy enough to buy out of any mess. What went wrong? Batman inquires. Edward rises and lunges at Batman, attempting to wrestle him. The Dark Knight twists and hurls him through a glass pane. He advances and extends a hand. Please, Edward, end this, Batman says gently. But Nygma snatches a glass fragment and tries to stab Batman, spinning swiftly and attacking repeatedly. When is the Beatles film list unfinished? Why do ears despise restrooms? Why did the endless motion device get fined? Well, puzzle me that, Edward snarls. The Batman effortlessly deflects the strikes and disarms the glass when it requires aid. Because there was excessive clamor in the skull. And what, Edward? Tell me, why did the endless motion device get fined? Batman says as Nygma drops to the floor, clutching his skull. Because it couldn't halt, Edward murmurs. He extends a trembling hand into his pocket and retrieves a note. Here, he murmurs as he passes the paper to Batman. Batman examines the extensive riddle list Edward penned. What is this? Batman asks. Edward stretches a shaky hand toward him. Hours! It took hours. Make it cease. I just want my mind to quiet, Edward murmurs. Batman regards him briefly before agreeing. He draws from his belt and gives Edward a sedative, letting the villain slump to the floor. Meanwhile, at Inky's Eatery in Lower Gotham, Huss Gray nears a man in a booth absorbed in his newspaper. Mr. Dean, I rent in your place. I captured something on film. I believe it could be newsworthy. And that's your field, right? You're a newsman, Huss inquires. The veteran reporter folds the paper and raises an eyebrow at the youth. Meanwhile, the Batmobile hurtles through Gotham's avenues. Did Hugo Strange set you on this little break-in, Edward? Batman questions, but Nigma is scarcely awake in the rear. Who? What? No, he mutters. When ain't Kay a ram? Edward murmurs before drifting off again. Batman sighs and steers the wheel. He glances at the seat beside him and sees Alfred there. Ain't draws notice to itself. K 1000. Haram prohibited could be nonsense, Batman suggests. Alfred nods and peeks back at the dozing foe. He shakes his head. It's an anagram. Master Bruce with a double negation spin. So when is K part of her limb? When it's in Arkham. Batman nods and accelerates. I think the Riddler was indicating that your Dr. Zella has been testing her experimental gadget on the inmates at Arkham, Alfred states as the Batmobile thunders toward Arkham Towers.
On a dark night at the port of Gotham, a truck pulls up as workers approach it with armed guards on standby. One of the workers yank open the door to reveal an unexpected surprise. It's an he yells. But before he can finish, someone inside shoots him. Later, the news broadcasts show that Gotham's port is in complete chaos as the police finally arrive. Meanwhile, inside the financial district in a secret bunker beneath the bank, the Minotaur watches the news. Over a truck, he questions. His assistant adjusts his glasses while staring at the screen. 2 nights ago, the Clanuri and the Black Fang ran a job they tried to keep off books from us, with the former paying the latter in uncut stones the Fang owe the Thieves Guild. Said stones were cleverly stashed in a Besna truck's gas tank. Of course, some random rat-ass undergang tries to boost said truck. Chaos ensues. Now 3 of our partners are locked into a gang war over a stupid coincidence. The assistant explains. He rubs his eyes and takes a few pills. The Minotaur pinches his nose between his eyes. Coincidence only brings good fortune. This is a conspiracy. We have a rat. Find them. And in the meantime, freeze all Taurus accounts at the bank now. If the only thing these animals understand is money, then none of these animals can have any until they learn to act like men. The Minotaur calls for parley. He snarled. I'm in the mood to ruin everybody's night, so call your little Morlocks in the sewers and drop the smoke. Meanwhile, in Harbor View, Bruce Wayne steps into the office of Dr. Zeller for the 2nd time in the same day. But this time he's dressed like a court-appointed lawyer. Dr. Zeller? Dr. Annika Zeller? Bruce says as he knocks on the door. Dr. Zeller is walking on her treadmill while working across multiple computer screens. I'm working? Talk to Dr. Batman! Dr. Zeller shouts without turning around, continuing to work. Beg your pardon? Bruce asks, noticing a stuffed bat on her desk. Ask him your question first. In detail. He's only a stuffed bat, so he's pretty dumb. The stuffed bat over there. Engineering named him Dr. Batman. Everybody's got to go through Batman to get to me, she explains. Bruce looks at her with a confused face. I don't understand, he say, puzzled. Are you new here? First time in the building or something? Office policy, new guy. When people come to me with project-related problems, most times, the solutions present themselves while they explain it to me. But for me, it's a total train of thought derailment. Flows shot, momentum gone, time wasted. So tell the bat. And if he can't help you, then I will. Dr. Zeller says without looking over her shoulder. Bruce gives in and leans down to talk to the stuffed animal. Doctor? Batman? Why titanographene? It's rare, patented, difficult to fabricate, expensive. Dr. Zeller quickly respond. Won't last. We play the long game here, she says. We're fighting a forever war against a persistent hostile condition, the chaos in our patients' minds. It can only be countered by persistent benevolent tactics. One day the crown of storms will be no different from a pacemaker, so we build for permanence now. Otherwise, we may as well be making boats out of paper. Bruce walks up behind her. Tough sell, he says, but Dr. Zeller stays locked in. Maybe if I ever get into a room with Bruce Wayne to plead my case, I'll let you know, she says. Bruce presses the off button on her treadmill, causing her to let out a scream while falling into his arms. Bruce Wayne, hi, he says, stoically. She looks at him in distraught. Dr. Annika Zeller, hi. Have we met? Bruce thinks about meeting her as Batman, but nods no. Don't think so. It really is my first time in the building. After the, events of last night, the Riddler and whatnot, I thought I'd pop my head in, see if everything was okay here. Dr. Zeller abruptly turns. If I knew attempted robbery was what it took to grab your time and attention, I'd have broken in myself a year ago, Mr. Wayne. She barks at him. Bruce opens the door. Bruce. And my time and attention are all yours tomorrow night. Say 7? I'll pick you up. Sorry to interrupt your flow, Doctor, he tells her while leaving the room. Dr. Zeller peeks her head out in surprise. 7? 7 what? I don't, she yells, but Bruce stoically walks off. The other scientists all gathered in surprise. Do you have a date with Bruce Wayne? One of the scientists asks. Dr. Zeller looks at her blushing. What? No what? No, she murmurs. Meanwhile, red smoke leaks from the sewer all around Gotham, which scares the public. They believe it's the doing of another vigilante in a costume. The officials of the city assure the people that there isn't anything to worry about. Nighttime hangs over the city again, and someone knows everything is not well in Gotham. Lonnie Machine, aka the villain Anarchy, stares out the window covered in paper. Damn it, damn it, damn it, he murmured. The red smoke is a bad sight, and the fact that it's goons circling outside his apartment doesn't make it any better. He turns around and begins stuffing items in his backpack, then puts his mask on. Okay, be cool. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Be cool, grab your gear, and come on. He coaches himself before turning from hearing a noise coming from outside. Suddenly, 2 thugs from outside slams through the window with a note taped to their body. Friends of yours? Seem pretty stupid? B. Lonnie stares at the note before running to the door in a panic. He runs towards the window, jumping out without second thought. But Batman grabs him before he gets too far. What was the plan here, Lonnie? Batman asked before swinging back to the building, throwing Lonnie through a window. Because this one seems pretty weak, Batman growls. Lonnie manages to stand up and spray Batman with his spray paint can, sparing himself a few seconds to run. But nevertheless, Batman swiftly glides across the room and kicks him in the face, knocking Lonnie out. Later, Lonnie wakes up hanging upside down with Batman sitting in front of him. You have gangs of goons lurking around your squat waiting to get you. Doesn't add up. How did a truck you didn't steal make Anarchy the Gotham underworld's most wanted? Batman questioned. Blood rushes up Lonnie's face. I don't know, man. I swear. Guy paid me $1,000 to boost the truck and dump it into the river. That's it. That's all. But everything went bad. Batman stares at Anarchy's mask. Dead driver, dead flunky, dead cops. The Black Fang, the Besnas, and the Thieves Guild gunning for each other and for you. Bad undersells it, Lonnie. Batman leans in closer to Lonnie's face. You're really scared here, Lonnie. You're so scared you jumped out of a window with no way down. Who are you running from, Lonnie? Batman asks him. Lonnie gives him a confused look. Are you messing with me? I can't tell if it's the concussion or the blood rushing to my head, or if you're messing with me. Some detective you are. Haven't you noticed how quiet it's been? How the freaks are all laying low and there's nobody but jank-ass street gangs pulling jobs out there. There's a new guy in charge of organized crime in Gotham, and I'm telling you, he's got it really, really organized. Meanwhile, the Minotaur gathered all the crime families of Gotham City in the old Wayne Manor Tower. While they're all sitting around a table, the Minotaur steps out the shadows. Where there is value, there is crime. Where there is crime, there is profit. And where there is profit, Taurus shall reap. The Minotaur says, informing them that they're all part of the Taurus, a fraction that works together and earn millions. And it works, as long as the 7 of us work together in harmony. He gestures to his assistant, who breaks down how since the gang war has started, the Taurus fraction is down $4.4 million each. At this rate, we'll miss quarterly projections in 8 days, he explains. The Minotaur reaches for the curtain for the stage. In my function as the bank, I froze everyone's accounts. I thought if money meant more than your bond to the rest of us, cutting everyone off would get your attention. But just in case, I brought some of your family here tonight. The Minotaur explains the curtain being pulled away, exposed a family member of each Taurus member with guns aimed at them. Oswald Cobblepot eyes open wide in terror as he sees one of his penguins. The Minotaur explains that he built the world's first resilient criminal empire. In 20 months, the Taurus would control every revenue stream in Gotham, both criminal and legal. In 20 years, the world. He lifts his hand. When one of us earns, we all earn, he barks at the group. All the armed guards cock their gun, but when one of us bleeds, we all bleed, says the Minotaur as he closes his fist gun shots, flood the room in the manor, and bodies slump to the floor. Meanwhile, Batman swings through the city, thinking about his conversation with Lonnie, who was terrified. He's called the Minotaur, Batman. He's turned Gotham City into a labyrinth of crime, and you're too late to stop him. Gotham City, we're already trapped inside of it with him, and there's no way out. The story opens outside the Wayne Experimental Sciences building, where Bruce Wayne is waiting for Dr. Zeller. He says, "Doctor, it's almost 8, and she replies, "I'm sorry." Bruce opens the door for her and she asks, "Is this a date?" Bruce responds, "Why would you think it's a date?" And she says, "You're dressed up." Bruce answers, "I'm dressed." When she gets inside the car, there's a gift waiting for her. She asks, "Is this a gift?" Bruce says, It's not a," and Annika cuts in, "Yeah, you think this is a date." Bruce insists, "It's not a date." And she says, "No, Mr. Wayne, it's not." Bruce responds, "Boy, this is off to a great start." She clarifies, "No, not you, that stupid board of tourism thing. Not thrilled about language that turns mental health into a cheap punchline." Bruce replies, "I'll bring it up with the board at the next Wayne Foundation gala. You know, Doctor, that thing that struck me about your appearance on Gotham Gang, your fearless advocacy." Before he can finish, she interrupts, "Do you always drive like this?" Because Bruce is weaving aggressively through traffic at high speed. Bruce smiles and says, "Yes, I do. Thanks for noticing. I've won awards, you know." She asks, "Awards?" Bruce replies, "For driving?" She repeats, "Driving awards," Bruce continues. "Dr. Zeller, I read everything I could about your work, and I find it fascinating, hopeful, inspiring even. I was hoping we could come to terms on funding for your project over a meal." She responds, "I'm sensing a but." Bruce answers, "But I think those men following us are trying to kill you." She turns toward the window. "Kill me? What? Who?" Bruce says, "The guys with the swords back there. Look up." As the motorcyclists leap onto the hood of the car, Bruce slams on the brakes, sending them flying onto the pavement, while the riders behind crash into his rear bumper and go airborne as well. Annika asks, "Why is this happening?" Bruce replies, "Some guys just hate seeing the doctor, I guess." He shifts back into drive and says, "I'm going to get you out of this, Dr. Zeller, I promise." More riders block the road ahead. Annika says, "Mr. Wayne?" Bruce responds, "I see them. And please, just call me Bruce, I promise, that contrary to all superficial evidence suggesting otherwise, I know what I'm doing." He casually spins the car in a full 360, knocking 2 motorcyclists aside. One manages to cling to the roof. Both Bruce and Annika look up as the rider swings his sword, slicing off a lock of her hair. Bruce catches the cut strand midair. He tells her to hang on. She asks, "To what?" And Bruce drives straight off a bridge, landing hard on the road in Little Tokyo. The car survives, but barely. The windshield is shattered and the engine is failing. Bruce leans out of his window to steer since he can't see through the glass. Annika looks back and says, "They're still coming." Bruce turns into an alley and deliberately crashes the car. She says, "Drop my present. This is such a bad date." Bruce climbs out and says, "Leave it." She argues, "No, this has been awful. I deserve a gift." She grabs it as Bruce helps her out. "Annika, we have to run," she replies, "Then put me down and let's go. The hell was that?" They run until they're stopped by a fence. Bruce mutters, "Don't know, not good." They turn and see a new figure approaching. A new villain in Gotham, the Oho. And she's here for Dr. Zeller. The Oho moves in. Bruce grabs Annika and she protests. "What the hell are you doing?" Bruce tosses her into a dumpster for protection, and tells her to stay down. The Oho charges and her blade slices into the dumpster. Onika sees it coming and instinctively raises the present in defense. To both her surprise and the Oho's, it works. The sword shatters. Bruce sees the opening and throws a kick, but the Oho dodges and knocks him off balance. She drives another blade toward his chest, but Bruce is wearing body armor that has passed through haptic input density phasing. I don't know what that means, but is also moisture wicking. The Oho realizes something is wrong. That strike should have pierced him. She swings again. Bruce flips over her, but instead of letting him get behind her, she transforms into a flock of birds and lands atop the fence. More motorcyclists approach. The Oho dissolves back into birds and flies off. Bruce looks at the dumpster and sees Onika pop up. She says, "So the woman made of birds and the motorcycle men aren't friends." Bruce replies, "It appears multiple parties have interest in collecting a bounty on you, Dr. Zeller. That means chaos in the marketplace. Let's exploit it." He tears through the fence. She asks, "What the hell was in that box you gave me?" "It broke her sword." Bruce answers, "A cube of titanographine. My way of saying I look forward to working with you, Doctor." Titanographine is exactly what she said she needed for her device, the one designed to help people regulate their responses to trauma and fear. She suddenly realizes, I left it in the dumpster. It's worth a fortune." Bruce takes her hand and says, "I already have a fortune. What I don't have is more of you." In the distance, the Oho turns her attention to the bikers instead. Bruce and Onika run. Bruce says, "So, let's survive the night, Doctor, and you can have all the Titan fine you want." She asks, "Should we call the police?" Bruce replies, "No, we should run." As they move, Bruce adds, "You saved my life back there. You broke that woman's sword." She responds, "Dumb luck. I didn't even know it was in the box." Bruce says, "All the same, you made a choice. Anyway, maybe I can repay the favor this way, Doctor." They reach a building with an extremely long ladder. She says, "Yeah, I can't climb that in these heels." Bruce reacts, "Huh?" He pulls the ladder down. "Skirt, heels, you absolutely thought this was a date." She starts, "It's not a," but Bruce cuts her off with, "All aboard." He lifts her and carries her up. She comments, "You really work out." Bruce answers, "It's because of your work." She asks, "You work out because of my—" Bruce clarifies, "No. In the car, you asked why. Why is this happening? It's your work." Violent and powerful people feel threatened by the idea their idea of identity can be changed if they choose, and they'd rather kill you than confront the possibility of making it something like that anyway. She responds softly, yeah, maybe. At the top, she says, "Okay, don't look." She explains, "Yes, I'm wearing a skirt, so be a gentleman and don't look up because this is going to be decidedly unladylike." But when they reach the roof, the Oho is already there. Bruce tells Onika to stay down. "This is me repaying the favor." She hides behind a sign. Bruce removes his jacket and says, "Cute trick, but I'm not some sword boy on a dirt bike pretending to be a killer." The Oho replies, "No, you are not. What are you, I wonder, when you're not pretending to be this?" Bruce raises his fists. "Come here, I'll show you." The Oho charges, but before the fight truly begins, Damian Wayne appears and throws down a bat snare. It's an MEMP nullification network with a 30 kilovolt shock field, electrocuting the Oho hard enough that she turns into birds and escapes. Bruce is protected thanks to ultra-insulated soles. He watches her go and chuckles, "Need better shoes." Damian says, "I studied her during my time with the League of Assassins. Rapid onset decoherence is most effective to neutralize, assuming one must adhere to a no-killing policy, father." And that's when Damian realizes what he just said. He called him father, in front of Onika Zeller. Bruce immediately looks furious, because if she's as perceptive as she seems, she just figured out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. In Little Tokyo, Bruce Wayne and Dr. Zeller sit in the back of an ambulance. Bruce looks at her, then looks away, struggling to come up with the words to say to Annika. Dr. Zeller breaks the silence, saying, We don't have to talk about it. Dr. Zeller, Annika, Bruce says while grabbing her hand. She snatches her hand away. Who knows I know? Nobody, you, him, and me, that's it. Bruce shakes his head. Dr. Zeller continues, I assume he'll tell She gestures her fingers above her head like horns, insinuating the Minotaur. And what's he gonna do? Call Child Protective Services on you? Beat me up? Like he solves every other problem he encounters? Dr. Zeller questions. Bruce palms his face. For what it's worth, Dr. Zeller, which I understand isn't much, I am truly sorry this happened. Good night, Bruce says while getting up and walking away. Wait, what? You're just leaving? Dr. Zeller asks as she sits there alone. Later on at Pennyworth Manor, Damien's fists are bleeding from him whacking the punching bag bare-knuckled. Bruce walks in furious. Damien, he says, standing behind him. I know, Father, so save your... But before Damien can finish his sentence, Bruce demolishes the bag with a single blow, surprising even Damien. He looks at his father intensely, reminding him to breathe. No, son. You don't know. Believe it or not, in fact, science has yet to conceive of a device so sophisticated as to calculate the massive sum of things that you don't know, Bruce sternly tells him. He tells Damien to smarten up before he gets someone killed. A holograph of Alfred appears saying, Master Bruce, but Bruce says don't start. Meanwhile, at the old Wayne Manor, Taurus members all reflect on the loss of a family member. Suddenly, Tezuki's phone rings. He answers it saying, bad time. On the other end, it's Hugo Strange sitting. Bad time, he shouts. You incompetent moron! You don't know the meaning of bad time! Hugo furiously shouts at the top of his lungs. Your idiot sword boys failed to eliminate that damn doctor. It's all across the news. Strange barks. Tezuki responds saying, our terms make it clear that hand of God interventions. But Strange interrupts him. You think it was the hand of God that scattered a little Tokyo alley with the bodies of your morons on motorbikes? Tonight, Hugo Strange will show you the only hand of God in Gotham City is mine's, Hugo shouts at his phone. Meanwhile, in Allentown, Jack Dean takes Hudson Gray to meet Harvey. Jack explains that Hudson might have something Harvey would be interested in. Hudson hands Harvey the phone, showing him a video. Harvey's face lights up with surprise. Well, I'll be damned sure looks like you got Police Commissioner Vandal Savage planting evidence at a crime scene, Harvey says. We got any clean DAS these days? Will it hold up in court? Jack questions. Not in this town, Harvey says begrudgingly. I don't know what this means, Hudson says, turning to Jack. What about the cop they wheeled out of there? He survived, right? We talked to him corroborate events. Jack asks. Sure, great idea. Only one problem, Harvey says. Officer Lanny Davis died tonight at Mercy Hospital strangled. Watch your backs, fellas. He says, warning them. Meanwhile, nighttime at the port side, chaos ensues. A man is rampaging and a lady is hiding under a desk screaming Batman repeatedly. The rampaging man knocks the desk over, but suddenly a claw hand device crashes in and wraps around the man. Batman appears saying, quiet, yanking the man with his bat reel, a 100-meter hemline with a 6-point bat barb and a 2,250-kilogram capacity. Evening, ma'am, you're safe now, Batman says to the elderly lady. He asks her if she's all right, and she tells him she knew he could hear her and would come to save her. Big bat ears of yours knew they could hear every damn thing in this town, she tells him. They aren't? Yes, ma'am, I heard you. Do you think you can head that way toward where it's not on fire for me? He asks her. She says yes, but where are you going? I'm gonna go fight monsters. Batman growls, activating his titanium core laser-honed bat blades. He charges in and slices the monsters in the torso. So Hugo Strange found a new way to make his monster men, not sure if that's an upgrade or not. But before Batman can finish, one of the monsters grabs him by the cape. Batman acrobatically spin kicks the other two. Suddenly, the one who grabbed his cape slams him to the ground. Batman is vulnerable on the ground as the monsters attack. but someone screams, "Get down," from outside. A barrage of bullets tears through the building, piercing the monsters all over. Batman rolls on the ground, avoiding the bullets. Outside, the firing squad declares that no one could survive this. But Batman manages to escape by jumping out the window. Disappearing into the night, he calls his car and it comes through, ramming through the firing squad. Batman opens his cape, gliding through the night sky, landing in his car through the sunroof, managing to escape. Later on in Pennyworth Manor, Batman is working on his computer when Tim Drake walks in. "Look at you. Long night?" Tim asks Bruce. Bruce turns around looking at him. Tim walks down the stairs saying, "I'm sorry I wasn't on patrol too. We need to talk." Tim tells Bruce, "You know, sometimes, nights on patrol, up on the rooftops, I'd see some random pair of people, walking together. Sometimes I could tell by how they moved. They were more than just that. They were a couple they fit. I could see even from all the way up there. Can you imagine? A love you can see from the rooftops. And now I think I have that with Bernard. And lying to him about what we do. I think I need a break from this. From us." Tim confesses to Bruce. There's a moment of silence, and Bruce just looks at Tim. He finally says, "What else have we been fighting for if not that?" He shakes Tim's hands and tells him, "Tim Drake, you're the bravest soul I've ever known. You can always come back, but I hope you never have to." Tim rushes in and grabs Bruce for a hug. Not really a hugger, Bruce tells him. Tim just tells Bruce, "Shut up and hug back, you big baby." And the two hug each other tight. Tim knocks on Damien's door. "Dame?" he calls out. Damien is angry at him. "I don't have anything to say to you, quitter," Dame tells him. Tim leans his head against the door. "Kinda had a feeling you heard all that," he says. Damien responds, "I hear everything in this house, Drake. At least now I won't have to hear that trash motorcycle of yours at all hours. I'm not leaving the tower or anything. We can still hang out or," Tim says, but Damien interrupts him. "Why would I want to spend time with a deserter like you?" Damien sarcastically asks. Tim balls his fist in sadness. Dame, the world is so much bigger than the Batcave, Damien. I know it sounds impossible to believe, but it's true. I'm only now starting to figure that out, and I hope one day you will too." Damien sits in his room, frustrated. Dr. Zeller is disgruntled, wrapped in a blanket on the ambulance, and Tozuki is distraught, holding his fallen family member. Bruce sits on his stairs and says, "God, what a night." Meanwhile, in the lower west side of Arkham Towers, Dr. Zeller is having a conversation with an unknown person. "How did it go, doctor?" he asks her. "Remind me, patient 10? Who's the doctor and who's the patient here?" she questions. The mysterious voice tells her, "I don't mean to pry. We speak so often it's easy for men to slip into informalities." "It's okay, we can slip into a little informality," Dr. Zeller says. "It sounds like you maybe had a bad night, as if being in a car crash wasn't bad enough," the voice echoes to her. "Burned out another one. You've officially fried more titanographene than the entire space program," Dr. Zeller says. "You can put it on my tab." The voice jokes. Dr. Zeller grabs her nose between her eyes. My night was fine. I met his son," she says. "Oh, how interesting. And what did you make of him?" the voice asks. "We really didn't speak. He was in and out in a flash," Dr. Zeller informs him. "I see. So that was the end of your big night with Bruce Wayne." "More or less," Dr. Zeller says, thinking about her and Bruce on the back of the ambulance. "Ah, and the accident occurred afterward?" the voice asks. "Last time I take a rideshare from a driver with a 1.4-star rating, I can promise you. Guy slammed right into a lamppost on the West Side Highway," Dr. Zeller tells him while putting a part on a machine. "Do you think you'll see him again? Not the driver, Bruce Wayne?" the voice questions. Dr. Zeller holds the machine up, examining it. Now it feels like prying. There, all fixed, she says. I apologize. I get quite lonely sometimes. It's nice to have anyone to talk to, even if I talk too much, the voice tells her. Dr. Zeller stands in front of a tank with green light reflecting off her. What about that friend you were telling me about? Were you able to reach out? Maybe schedule a visit? She asks. Oh yes, doctor. I did manage to reach out. I haven't heard back yet, but it's only a matter of time. After all, he's my very best friend, the voice says, as we see Dr. Zeller reaching into a tank, placing the machine she was working on onto the Joker's head.